Right, well, this is a thing. So, hi, my name's Oliver, and today I'm going to do a little bit of makeup. Something that I've wanted to do for ages is, for one, start doing videos for YouTube, because I love doing makeup, and why not share that talent online? What I want to do today is the Scott Barnes sort of tutorial look that he did on Tati Westbrook, I think around a year ago now. Something that's like really drawn me to actually try this technique is because he does the highlight on the contour first, and also does eyes last, which I find really interesting. But he does that and then puts foundation on top, so I find that really interesting. So I kind of want to try and follow his steps, step by step, and then see if I look like J-Lo at the end of it all. Which I don't think I will, but why not? Let's just try this out. So, yeah, I will quickly wash my face, prime, and then I will be ready to start. Right, so gonna put up the video just around here maybe of what I'm watching real time, so you can see what I'm looking at while I'm following the tutorials. So
and see it at the monitor.
let's start this.
So I'm gonna use all-nighter, right? What I like to do with this is to bring it in, and you just use it to like eliminate stuff.
That's a lot of product. Right, so he's kind of done it down the cheek fold here, and then all across, all the way up to here. So, right, I guess I'm going to start this. I'm using the Revolution Conceal and Hydrate, which I'm pretty sure it used to be the Conceal and Define, but I'm using that in the shade C2. So he does it all the way down the nose, so I'm guessing that's going to be used for nose contour later. For brightening down the side, all into this inner corner, taking it up to here, and then bringing it all down there. Right, so he's gone and done the other eye, of course, and then he's done kind of above the brow, centre of the forehead, so let's do that. God, I never highlight here. Is this bright enough? I mean, it's brighter than my skin tone, so. He's done the line down the centre of the chin to make it appear smaller. I know that trick very well. Right, let's see if he does anything on the upper lip. I usually do like a little spot.
Now, this is everybody's like, where do I contour? So this is always the question, right? So I bring
he does a line right on the centre of the nose. Okay.
Sometimes you see, because she goes, look, it's like a cat paw. So anyway, what I like to do with it is just kind of blend it out.
Right, so he's using one of the like foundation application brushes, which I actually don't have in my kit because I just never use them, and they just, you know, brush takes up space. So I'm going to see what he does and then see what brush I have really works best for the situation. He's kind of just pressing it and running it across the face and kind of like not trying to move that product to where I've already placed it. I think I'm not going to use that one. I think I'm going to go in with this, which is just like one of the cheaper sort of cream contour kabuki brushes. And then, so he's just kind of okay, so there, he's kind of taking that flat brush and then blending this harsh line down the edge, he's blending it upwards. So I don't know whether this is going to work with this big of a brush. Probably not. I've got this sort of like highlighting sort of contour brush. Let's see what I can do with this. If I just pinch it a little bit.
The reason why I always...
So something he really focused on there was kind of, I know some drag queens call it like the beige rainbow on your forehead. like a sunset where you do have more product in this centre and then kind of less product towards the outside. So I'm going to try and replicate that and see where I get. I might leave that for a couple of seconds just to set a little bit. And then he's gone in and done the chin as well and kind of just not really done it too precisely. So I'm going to follow that and not be too precise with it.
Jaws. We're going to come in with the jaws of life.
Okay, he's really good. Oh shit, okay. He's really going in with that colour. That is like a deep mahogany. Right, let's see what I have. I do have the RCMA 18 part foundation concealer palette. But by the looks of that, those shades, if I had the deeper palette, I think that might work. But I think this is too light. I think I might have to go for a deep foundation. I think I could actually do with like an actual paintbrush at this point, but I think this is probably going to be my safest bet because this is kind of a similar, it's still wide enough that I can then do that. So he's really going in on that jawline, right? Okay, take a little bit of that and just stamp that on my palette and then just, oh, I'm so scared. Right, okay. This is still too light. This is still far too light, but it's the best we're going to do. Right, I am going to try and dip into this and then see if any of these shades are going to look any better because that's just far too light. Get some of the deep shade in here and then just... Okay, that's a little bit deeper, but still not perfect. Obviously, Tati is a woman, so she might need a little bit more jaw contouring than I need being a male. God, this just reminded me I need to get some more deep foundations. But with COVID, a bunch of my deeper foundations actually ran out, or the expiration date, the period after opening on it. So I've had to throw a lot of stuff out, and right now I just don't think it's financially wise to actually purchase all new deeper foundations if I'm not going to be doing any clients, because there's no need for a makeup artist right now really, when doing clients and stuff like that. So I think for right now I'm just going to keep my shades, and then hopefully once COVID starts to clear up and people are going to events and stuff open up again, seeing as we're about to go into the second lockdown in the UK, I'm not going to purchase any more, I don't think. Right, so for this neck, he's saying that to slim down somebody's neck, I should have worn a lower cut top, is to, I'm not going to focus too much on the body foundation because I know he does a lot on like the hands and shoulders and stuff like that, but I'm not really going to focus on that because I usually don't have that kind of area of my chest on show unless it's nice weather, but currently it's November in the UK and it's about 12 degrees, so you're not going to catch me with no shirt on anytime soon. Okay, here is kind of like, he is kind of doing the décolletage, so I think I'm just going to do a little bit of the
like, clavicle,
neck.
clavicle boning.
A lot of people ask how do you deal with the haters.
Right, okay, so now he...
And that's one of those things early in
So
the
I don't think he's actually... Let me have a look.
Everybody else
No, he's left that on like he has done before, so he's going to wait until he puts foundation on, I think, until that kind of like blends out. So now he's just going in on that cheek, right? Let's see.
And that's one of those things.
This is where I really want to focus. Here and like the nose.
Oh, sure do.
Right, so he's kind of done an angle from... He's working from this part of the ear here, kind of to around, I'd say there, around here. So I am going to go in. Right, so I am back, and I don't think these are very symmetrical, but I think I'll just go a little bit higher on this side because I have a masculine face and I feel like I want to lift everything rather than keep it at the same level, yeah. That should be fine, I think. Yeah. Right, let's see what he does on this forehead.
Like the light's hitting right here. So,
yeah, so here he's talking about lighting and where the lighting's hitting, because he said that he's going to do this for a sort of stage performance kind of look, which is important to think about before you do a makeup look, is lighting, what sort of scenario it's going to be, and like how people are going to view it. Because if you're doing a bridal makeup, it's going to be done differently to if you're going to do a photo shoot. Because colours and then also seeing someone in person is going to be very different. So that's definitely something that I have learned from college. So he's saying that the lighting is mainly hitting here. So he's kind of focusing the contour more in this section around here and there. So I want to see how deep he goes with this.
So you do makeup differently per shoot, per lighting, like you really...
Oh.
Take some of that. Trust the process, trust the process, trust the process. So now this is the part that I really need to focus on, because he's doing the nose, which is a kind of iconic thing that he does. And he uses his specific brush, which I've looked at buying and it's very expensive, so I'm yet to plunge and make that purchase. But with what I've got, maybe this Morphe E29 brow brush might be a decent idea, and see where he kind of works with that. So he's kind of done the traditional diamond shape at the tip of the nose, kind of like cut it off a little bit lower, and kind of stopped the brown around here, which I think is very interesting, because I haven't seen many people actually do that. So I'm going to take a little bit of that brown contour colour out of this palette here, and then I'm going to hit the nose. Right, so that is a very skinny nose. So now he's doing the lips, which I find really interesting as well. I look crazy right now. I look absolutely insane. Right, okay.
Having a fuller lip, it's not overlining it to death.
So he's taking this on the edges. Right, let's see where it does up to this.
Okay, I'm decided I'm going to use some Chanel on you.
I don't have that.
Oh.
We're going to start with the...
He started ready and I'm like...
So he's taking very little foundation, because I know this is kind of like this is his trick now, where this absolute mess comes together and kind of changes. So he's taking kind of something close, it looks like a powder brush. So he has kind of diminished some of these highlights and really blended these two sections together. He hasn't got to the cheeks yet, but I kind of want to, I might watch the entire face, come back, and then go along with it.
Lighting situation.
Can now truly say that I am a YouTuber, because my camera just died. So I have been sat here for a while, kind of just twiddling my fingers. I actually took some of the footage and then just kind of like saw what I had already and then kind of did it. But I've got all my foundation mixed now. I think I'm going to try and take this Wet n Wild Kabuki foundation brush and just see what I can do. So from what Scott's doing, he's kind of just being very light with his movements and then just blending all these areas together. Okay, this has turned out so beautiful. I look natural, like his term, like I look natural, like it just looks so, like my face just looks so much skinnier, the highlights have worked. I'm yet to do the nose, but I think I kind of, this side I did alright. I think this side I used too much product with the neck and I kind of blended it out a little bit too much, but I'm in love with the way this looks. In person, it doesn't look too bad either, which I wasn't too sure because he said it's for stage. So kind of a little bit of distance between you and the celebrity kind of usually. But it is starting to look really beautiful. So I'm going to carry on watching and see what he does with the nose. And I will get back to you. Right, so after reviewing that video, he did say that he used a lighter foundation up here. But I don't mind what I've done. I think it's alright. I think it's kind of blended the harshness of it all. I think I might just take a little bit. So I'm using the Maybelline Superstay in Ivory, because it's probably a little bit too full coverage, but I'll see. And I'm going to use this lighter brush that I used for my highlights. And I'm just going to take some of that and just tap some of that on the highlight areas where the highlight met the contour and just blend that out a bit. Okay, now he's going with cream blush, which I didn't remember him doing, so I'm going to have to quickly get that out of my bag.
And then I'll scrape a little bit of that off with a spatula. It's not like it's great. So blush is kind of going with classic pink. That's what I've got, thankfully. So I'm just going to clean that down. And now I think I'm going to go with... I'll leave that for a specific brush I like to use for powdering. So I'm going to leave that. I'm going to take the brush that we used earlier for the nose, which I probably should save, but I don't know very far. Is that coming off a little bit? I'm going to heat this up a little bit with my finger, I think. Or just completely put it on my finger by the looks of things.
Right. Just going to take a little bit of this, and he's kind of applying it on the apple and bringing it a little bit up here, so. I'm not usually one for cream blush, so. Yeah, I'm not usually ever one on myself or clients unless it's like an 80s high fashion kind of look. I won't use blush. Right, so now he's going in with the even brighter highlight. And I think that Revolution is something I did notice, that it's not as bright as I'd wanted it to be. So I think I'm going to go in with this Revolution. I like the foundation sticks for concealer sometimes. I'm going to go in with F3. He's kind of placing it in this inner corner section here and underneath the lash line.
White.
So I'm going to have a look at do that, and then he goes to treat with powder. Okay. Right, so I am now loving the way this looks. I'm so happy. So now he's moving on to powder, so I want to see how he powders. I know there's multiple techniques that you can use to powder, especially the under eye highlights and then contours and stuff like that, so I'm going to see what he does.
Okay, powder.
Pretty simple, goes in with a tapered brush and then kind of just presses it into the skin, under the eyes. He's using a pressed powder, which I will actually use. I was thinking about using loose because I've got a lot of product on my face, but you know, I'm going to try to stay as true to him as possible. So I'm going to go in with the RCMA No Colour Pressed Powder because I love the loose one, so I bought this. And from what I've used so far, I actually really like it. Right, so I have now powdered under my eyes and kind of like around my mouth and that section, but he didn't actually powder too much all over the rest of the face, so I don't know whether that comes later, I don't know, but I thought that's usually where I like to powder because I'm a man and I also do have quite an oily T-zone, so it just gets a bit shiny there especially, and I don't really want the makeup to kind of, because obviously oil, like, will take away oil-based products like foundations and concealers, so I am powdering those areas to make sure that the products don't sort of take themselves off, like with natural oils and whatnot. So now he's moving on to highlight, which, to be honest, I don't do much highlighting anymore. It's just not my... I feel like the trend has kind of passed. Like, I get it for stages to not look flat and to look three-dimensional, but I'm just looking at what he's doing and then I shall copy it.
Society.
Oh, they actually exhibit some stuff, and they're like an indie brand.
taking the Anastasia A23 brush.
A lot for highlighters.
Love that.
Okay.
Okay.
Ooh.
This is kind of not necessarily a gleaming highlight, which this kind of is, but I'm going to see where I can get with it. And he kind of just does it kind of over the apple of the cheek as well, which I'm not a big fan of. And kind of just makes, actually not enough to the point that you can see it from the front, but if you turn here it's like perfectly there and kind of stops. So I'm just going to kind of swirl that as best as possible and kind of create that almost like sweat, like a very natural glow. I've just realised that the nose has been done. I don't know at what point it got done. I'm just going to kind of do a similar technique as to what I did on the lips and just be very delicate and hope that that works. He also highlights underneath the brow bone, which I love because it really does add that effect of being more three-dimensional. Right, now moving on to bronzer. He goes in heavy again. And he kind of goes in with more of a dense brush. I feel like this Illamasqua one actually might be a good version because he's really promoting a lot of his products, which I don't blame him for. If I was a cosmetics owner, I would 1000% do that. So he's using a lot of his brushes, and a lot of them are really odd shapes. And like, I feel like this is probably the deepest bronzer I have, which is a Pierre René bronzer. It's very similar to the NYX sort of trio one, and he's kind of gone top of the ear down to, I'm going to use Miss Fame's trick, which I think came from Kevin Aquan, I'm not sure. Yeah, my bronzer is not dark enough at all. Like, he's going in with an extremely dark product. Now moving on to lips.
Then we're going to connect the top.
He's showing how he overlines from the outside inwards, which I think is a really good technique. I've done that a couple of times before, and I really love the outcome. I'm just going to see what sort of colour he's using. Right, so I've freshly sharpened this Anastasia sharpener, probably one of the best sharpeners I've ever used. I'm actually going to grab this compact again, so I'm not blocking the camera, but outlining from the outside first. Right, so he's going in with a very natural and light gloss. I don't have any of those, because I'm not a huge fan of gloss at all. I have some of the House Labs glosses, which are a little bit darker, but I think I might go in with a lighter lipstick and then go in with Ethereal, which is it Ethereal? No, Enchanted, which is a very, like, clear, glittery gloss, which looks like what he's using. So I've now finished with my lips. This is not my colour at all, but I'm going to work with it. I'm going to keep going on, and I'm hopefully it's going to look alright by the end of it. So now moving on to brows, he's taking an angled brush and I think a powder and just running it through the brow, not really having a lighter front, which is a very trendy thing at the moment, but I know he's talked about how he doesn't believe, like, it's not realistic, so he goes in with a brow gel afterwards, which is something that I probably wouldn't do because I don't use, unless it's tinted, I don't use a normal brow gel, I use soap brows. So I'm going to quickly go in with my soap brows now, and then I'm going to fill in my brows with a brow powder. Right, so I have now finished my brows using the Foolproof Brow Powder by Benefit in the shade 3, using mainly the darker shade. So I've now done that, and then, because I've already used my soap brows, I'm not going to use the brow gel that he uses. But I shall move on after that. So he's now showing him using a pressed powder of his and then actually brushing all the contour up. So I'm going to take a large bronzer brush and my Hoola bronzer. I'm just going to do what he's doing, which is just softening that line. So he's now going in with eyes, which is his final step, and he's going in with a sort of, I'd say a deep pink shade in the crease from his palette. And so I'm going to try and replicate that. Something I've noticed as well is that he hasn't gone near an eye primer, he hasn't touched one. So I'm going to use the Be Perfect Stacey Marie palette, and I'm going to see how it fares without any product on my lid. I'm just deepening that up with a little bit of Persuasion from that palette as well, because I think it's too pink toned, it needs to be a little bit more brown. Something I've noticed as well is that his edges aren't super blended. Granted, mine right now don't look good at all, so I'm going to take a little bit of Hall and I'm just going to blend the edges of these. Okay, they've kind of sped through the eyes a bit, but it looks like he's tight lined with a dark brown shadow, and then has taken a little bit of that shadow on a pencil brush underneath the eye. So I'm going to do that, and I will be right back. Right, so I've kind of done my mascara, finished kind of blending, and also finished the eye look because it wasn't truly in depth of the eyeshadow of what Scott actually did, which I understand because it's not a full masterclass, it is just a YouTube video. I know it was more catered and focused towards his unique base application. So I've kind of just fixed that, done a little bit more using shades, Foolish, Basic, and just pinky nude tones and dark browns. So I've used that. I've then gone in with mascara, and then now looking at what lashes he's put on, they're very fluffy, very spiky, kind of very natural foam mink kind of look. So I'm actually going to apply those, and I shall be back. I'm now doing Scott's trick here, which I definitely wouldn't recommend and would never use on a client, but he says to sort of dry lash glue with hot air, so by breathing on them rather than just blowing. So right, so that is the end of that makeup look. I am so happy with the result. I think that it just looks so glowy, and like he says, it's so natural. I think that I'm ready for a photo shoot, even if it is a lot of makeup, because to be honest, with the products that I use, I think they're full coverage enough that they covered everything that I needed to, and the texture isn't crazy bad, because I know sometimes when you have a lot of product on, it can look absolutely insane. I think my only problem is that the eyes wasn't too in-depth. I think that it was quite a brief kind of thing, like, oh, eyeshadow using this brush, using my palette. I think it could have been a lot more in-depth and could have shown you actually step by step how, like, what shadow Scott was using, like how he's doing it, certain techniques and tips and tricks from him himself. The lip is definitely growing on me. I do think it actually looks quite good now that I've finished, but I think any other time other than this video I wouldn't choose it myself because I'm not 100% happy with it. But everything else I'm absolutely in love. I haven't worn huge lashes like this in a while, and I'm happy I did because they look great. So yeah. Well, thank you so much for watching. I absolutely love doing this makeup, especially like following a tutorial, because I've never kind of done that and then recorded it before, so that was something that I really enjoyed. Below I will link Tati and that video, as well as Scott's website if you want to pick up any of the brushes or products that he talked about in the video, because he used a lot of his own products. Like and subscribe for more beauty content, and leave any questions you want down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!